Today I want to share with you some tips and tricks on camera placement so that you can better think about how your viewers experience your stream and maybe even get some more clicks in whatever game category you're streaming on Twitch. So here we have Sea of Thieves as a game category, and just very briefly we're going to just look at the thumbnails here because this is the place you kind of want to start to think about when it comes to your camera placement and discoverability on Twitch. Twitch is already a difficult platform to grow on. It's very difficult to get people to even look at your stream. And there's a minimal amount of people that are browsing through these categories looking for people to watch. So, aside from having a good title, an attractive title, you need to make sure that your thumbnail is also attractive. And the way to do that is to think about your camera position. We look at these streams, and I'm not trying to call anybody out here. We're just going to use people that are live, currently live, as an example. So you want to make sure that your camera is visible enough in the thumbnail that people know you have a camera. Sometimes your camera can be too small and shoved in the corner, and people can't even tell that you have a camera. Or one of these little UI elements, like the time or the live or the viewer count, is covering the camera enough that it's not obvious that you have a camera. You want to make sure that your camera stands out in the thumbnail. So how do we do that? So here I've set up a camera and a capture card in OBS. This is a C920, and typically you'd find a lot of streams where they just kind of they scale the camera down like this because they don't want the camera to be covering too much of the game. And the typical streamer will just throw it in the corner like this. So this is too small. Putting your camera just down in the corner like this is going to make it very difficult for people to see your eyes, for your viewers, and it's going to make it more difficult on the thumbnail for people to even know that you have a camera. You can easily be covered up here. Same thing if you put it in the top left corner like this, top right corner, even like this. There's no placing this that's going to make it obvious when somebody is scrolling through the feed what you look like and that you even use a camera. So first thing you want to do, I'm going to do Control R to reset the layer, and we want to crop out the stuff that is making the camera too big. And you don't need this much what's called headroom between you and the top of the camera. It's better to cut off your head a little bit or give a little bit of headroom like this, and then we can scale this down and see how you take up less of the frame here and it's less obtrusive, and we don't even need to see this much. I mean, really the most important thing for people to see is your eyes. You want your eyes to be very visible. So this is starting to look more like a good setup. My eyes are clearly visible. This will cover some game elements and UI, which you can kind of position it in a place where there's less important UI elements or you're not covering as much. If it's a game that's 4x3, you can obviously take the game and shove it over to the side so that you have more room for your camera, and you can go even bigger. And this would be a great setup. You can see me clearly. You'll be able to see my reactions clearly. You can see my eyes clearly. So camera position is really, really important. But let's just say you're playing a 16:9 game and it fills the whole screen, and you can't have your camera this big. This is a good in-between size. And my suggestion is putting the camera on the right side of the frame in OBS because there's less things, and it's easier to clearly see if you have a camera if you're on the right side. Now, there are some exceptions to this. It's not a hard and fast rule. You can be on the left side of the screen. Just know that if your camera is on the left side of the screen, it's going to be less likely for people to notice, especially if you have it in the bottom left corner. The typical places for that are bad for your camera to be are in the corners, shoved all the way in the corner, unless you have a green screen or you do a heavy cropping on your camera like this so that it takes up less space. But the general idea is people want to be able to see your eyes, and they want to be able to see your reactions. And for the thumbnail, they want to be able to see that you have a camera. You do not want your camera small, like this, and hidden behind a UI element on the Twitch browse page. View count, the little live thing in the corner, how long you've been live, that kind of stuff. So you don't want your camera to be hidden behind UI elements or so small that you can't tell that you have a camera. It can be a good idea, depending on the game that you're playing, to put your camera on the left side of the screen, but just make sure that it's obvious and people can see that you have a camera. That is the most important thing. The side the camera is on is not as important as being big enough to be seen by your audience and in the thumbnail. That was a quick video, and I hope that this helps you think about camera size and placement, and I hope it helps you get more discovered on Twitch. If you're interested in joining Infinite Quality and having conversations about these kinds of things with our community, you can go to infinitequality.live and apply to be a member there. If you enjoy these kinds of videos or they help you, whether you're a member or not, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe if you want to see more like this. I'll see you guys in the next one.